The voice on the baby monitor. When my wife and I bought our first house, everyone congratulated us. It wasn't huge. It wasn't modern. But it was ours. The house sat at the end of a quiet street in a small town. The previous owners had lived there for almost 30 years before moving into assisted living. Nothing about the place seemed unusual. The inspection came back clean. The neighbors were friendly. The first few weeks were peaceful. A month later, our daughter was born. Like every nervous first-time parent, we bought everything people recommended. Security cameras, motion sensors, a high-quality baby monitor. For the first couple of months, nothing strange happened. Then one night, around 2:30 in the morning, the monitor turned on by itself. I woke to the sound of static. Then, a woman's voice. Soft. Calm. Almost like she was singing. I immediately looked at my wife. She was asleep beside me. The voice wasn't coming from her. It was coming from the baby monitor. I rushed into my daughter's room. She was sleeping peacefully. No one else was there. The room was empty. I checked every window, every door. Nothing. I convinced myself it had picked up interference from another device. People online said it could happen. So I ignored it. 2 nights later, it happened again. This time the voice wasn't singing. It was whispering. I couldn't understand the words. The signal crackled too much. I unplugged the monitor completely. The screen went black. The whispering continued. For another 5 seconds. Then it stopped. The next morning I bought a brand new monitor from a different company. Different frequency. Different technology. I thought the problem was solved. 3 nights passed. Silence. On the 4th night, the new monitor activated by itself. Only this time, there was no voice. There was laughter. A little girl laughing. Not my daughter. She was only 3 months old. She couldn't even make sounds like that. The laughter lasted maybe 10 seconds. Then everything went quiet again. My wife wanted to call the police. I honestly didn't know what to tell them. Our baby monitor is laughing? Instead, I installed security cameras around the entire house. Front yard. Backyard. Garage. Every entrance. Nothing unusual appeared. Until one rainy Saturday afternoon. I was reviewing footage after a motion alert. A cat had walked across the driveway. As I skipped through the recordings, I noticed something strange on the backyard camera. At exactly 2:17 a.m. every single night, someone appeared near the fence. The figure never entered the yard. Never moved closer. Just stood there. Watching the house. The image quality was poor. Rain distorted everything. But one detail stayed the same every night. The person seemed unusually tall. And completely motionless. I called the police. They searched the neighborhood. Found nothing. A week later the figure disappeared. I thought that was the end of it. Until my daughter turned 1 year old. By then she had started saying simple words. Mama. Dada. Ball. One afternoon she was playing alone in the living room. Suddenly she looked toward the hallway. Smiled. And waved. I assumed she had seen our dog. But the dog was asleep outside. Then she happily said, "Lady." I looked into the hallway. No one. I asked, "What lady?" She pointed toward the staircase. "The lady sings." My wife and I looked at each other. Neither of us had ever mentioned the voice. Months passed. We never heard the singing again. Life slowly returned to normal. Then, While renovating the attic, I found something hidden beneath loose floorboards. A small cardboard box. Inside were old family photographs, letters, and a cassette recorder. Curious, I cleaned it up and managed to play the tape. Most of it was silent. Then, a woman began singing a lullaby. My heart stopped. It was the exact same melody we had heard through the baby monitor. I played it for my wife. She immediately recognized it too. Neither of us had any doubt. It was the same voice. I tracked down the daughter of the previous owners. She agreed to meet me for coffee. When I mentioned finding the tape, she became very quiet. Then she explained. Her younger sister had died in that house decades earlier. She loved singing to dolls and pretending to be a mother. The lullaby on the tape had been recorded only a few weeks before her death. I asked what had happened. The woman simply shook her head. My parents never talked about it. Before leaving, she asked one question. Your daughter. Has she ever mentioned hearing someone sing? I didn't answer. Because she already knew. Our daughter is 6 years old now. We've moved to another city. Another house. Another life. Every now and then, when she's supposed to be asleep, we hear her quietly humming the same lullaby. A song. I had been driving for a ride-sharing app for almost 4 years. Most nights were predictable. Pick someone up. Drop them off. Repeat until sunrise. Weekend nights were usually the busiest. Drunk passengers. Airport trips. People coming home from parties. Nothing ever surprised me anymore. Or at least, that's what I believed. One Friday night, just after 2 a.m., I received a ride request from a road I had never visited before. The pickup point was several miles outside the city, almost surrounded by forest. The app showed 5 stars. No profile picture. No name. Only the letter M. I almost cancelled. The area was so isolated that I doubted anyone was actually waiting there. But it was my last ride of the night. I accepted it. The road became narrower the farther I drove. Streetlights disappeared. The GPS guided me onto an old gravel road. Finally, I saw someone standing beneath a broken street lamp. He wore a long dark coat. His hands were in his pockets. He didn't wave. He didn't move. He simply waited. I unlocked the doors. The man entered the back seat without saying a word. As soon as he sat down, I noticed something strange. He wasn't breathing heavily. He wasn't cold. He didn't smell like rain even though it had been pouring outside. The app showed the destination. 42 minutes away. Neither of us spoke for almost 15 minutes. Then, the navigation suddenly lost signal. The map froze. I apologized and asked, "Do you know the way?" The man quietly replied, "Just keep driving." His voice sounded calm, almost emotionless. Something about it made me uncomfortable. I glanced into the rearview mirror. He was staring out of the side window. Not at the road. Not at me. Just into the darkness. A few minutes later we passed an abandoned gas station. Without looking at me he suddenly said, "Don't stop here." I laughed nervously. "I wasn't planning to." He answered, "Good. There are people who still think this place is open." I wasn't sure what he meant. The building had clearly been abandoned for years. Its windows were broken. The roof had partially collapsed. We continued driving. Rain became heavier. The windshield wipers barely kept up. Then, someone appeared in the middle of the road. A young woman. Completely soaked. She was waving both arms. Asking for help. Instinctively, I reached for the brake pedal. Before I could press it, the man behind me spoke much louder than before. "Keep driving." His voice startled me. I hesitated. The woman looked terrified. She screamed something I couldn't hear. Every instinct told me to stop. But something about the passenger's tone made me continue. We drove straight past her. As we passed, I looked sideways for only a second. She wasn't looking at the car anymore. She was smiling. A huge, impossible smile. The kind that stretched far wider than any human face should. I immediately looked back at the road. My heart was racing. "What was that?" I whispered. The passenger finally looked at me through the mirror. The last driver stopped. He said nothing else. Neither did I. The remaining drive felt endless. Eventually we reached the destination. An old farmhouse surrounded by empty fields. The passenger opened the door. Before stepping out, he placed a folded $20 bill on the seat. Then he said, "Never stop on this road after midnight." He closed the door. I watched him walk toward the house. Halfway there, the porch light flickered. For less than a second. When the light returned, he was gone. There was nowhere he could have disappeared. No trees. No parked cars. Nothing. Just an empty yard. I drove away as fast as I could. The next morning I checked the app. The ride wasn't there. No payment. No record. Nothing. I contacted customer support. They told me no trip had been assigned to that location during the night. I insisted. I even described the passenger. The support agent became quiet. Then asked, "Can you tell me the exact road?" I did. There was another long silence. Finally she said, "You're the third driver this year to call about that road." Before I could ask another question, the call disconnected. Curious, I searched online. I found an old newspaper article from almost 20 years ago. A rideshare driver had stopped for a woman asking for help on that exact road. His car was discovered the next morning. Empty. Still running. The driver was never found. Since then, every few years, someone reports picking up a silent passenger nearby. And every one of them tells the same story. A warning. Never stop. No matter who is standing in the road.